Hello, hello. All right, everybody, let's come over here and sit down and we can get started. But before that, we're actually doing an iPad giveaway. And if you want to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is take a picture of who you came with or just something in the church, tag the Instagram page, or you can check it on Facebook if you guys still use that. The Instagram page should pop up on here. It's just, isn't it Ignite FIMC or something like that? All right. So a little bit about tonight. This is Student Takeover, and what Student Takeover is, well, I mean, you can kind of tell it in the title. It's Student Takeover. This is all student-led. Student announcement, student preacher, student serving, student doing the games. This is just something that will kind of inspire you guys to want to serve at this church or your church or just wherever you go to church. And we're going to have Eli up here preaching for us. And Nick is going to come up here and do the announcements for us. Well, that's all I have to say, so let's get started.
All right. I know I'll never be alone. There is another in the fire, standing next to me. There was another in the waters, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding of how I've been set free? There is a cross that bears the burden, where another died for me. There is another in the fire. All my time I've been no longer a slave to my sin anymore. Should I fall in the space between what it was and either way, I'm about to the things I know I will never be alone. There's another in the fire, standing next to me. There is another in the water, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding, the power set me free. There is a grave that holds nobody. Now that power lives in me. There's another in the fire. There is another in the fire. There is another in the fire. Another in the fire. I can see the light in the darkness as the darkness bows to kneel. I can hear the roar in the heavens as the space between we're still. I can feel the ground shake beneath us as the prison walls creep in. Nothing's in between us. Nothing's in between us. victory. I'll count the joy from every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I'll count the joy from every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. Count the joy from every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I gotta go like that bridge. I can sing that. I can see the light in the darkness, and the darkness bows to Him. I can hear the roar in the heavens as the space between we're standing. I can feel the ground shake beneath us as the prison walls cave in. Nothing's in between us. Nothing's in between. There'll be another in the fire standing next to me. There'll be another in the waters holding back the seas. And should I ever need remind, what you've been to me, I'll count the joy from every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I count on one thing, the same God that never fails when I fail me now. You won't fail me now. No way. The same God is never late. He's working all things out. Working all things out. Oh yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Oh yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy. All my praise. Oh yes, I will. I count on one thing, God never fails, will not fail me now. You won't fail me now. No way. The same God is never late. He's working all things out. Working all things out. Oh yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Oh yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy all my days. Oh yes, I will. I choose to praise. yes, I will. You call me out upon the water, the great unknown, where feet may fail, and there I find you in the mystery. An ocean is deep, my faith will stand, and I will call upon your name, and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. I am yours, you are mine. The grace abounds in deepest waters, your sovereign hand be my guide. Where feet may fail and fear surrounds me, never fail, you won't start now. So I will go for your name, keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul rests in your embrace. For I am yours, you are mine. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. The Spirit lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me, and take me deeper than my feet could ever wander.
Can we get a round of applause for the band for Jesus tonight? I'm very proud of these guys. My name's Nick, and I want to welcome you guys to Ignite and to Student Takeover. I run the sound, and tonight, we're here for Jesus, and we're also here to, give support to Eli as he continues his career with his calling. And guys, I know he's going to bring the word. I've known Eli for several years now. Even though I've been preaching a little bit longer than him, he has a gift. And I'm very proud of that gift in him. But you guys may be seated. We just got a couple announcements right now. First off, again, welcome to Student Takeover. I want to welcome the soccer team, the Hartsville soccer team tonight. I think we have all of them here tonight. I may be wrong. Another cool thing I found out this morning, is Keegan here? I've known Keegan for a long time. We haven't been friends for a long time, but I've known him for a long time. And I found out this morning you're leading the nation in goals, am I right? That's awesome to hear. That's awesome. But next announcement is I want to say is on April 21st, we have Generate Wednesday, which is something like tonight, except we'll have Pastor Ethan preaching. But it's like tonight. We'll have Chick-fil-A. It'll be packed out. But this time around, 5:36, we'll have games. We'll start playing like kickball, stuff like that. So, guys, on April 21st, come back. Come hear the word. Come get filled and come have fun. We do this mainly we do this every year. It's always packed out. It's always a great time. So I welcome you guys back on the 21st of April. The next thing I want to talk about is the youth retreat, which is March 27th. We have the youth retreat, which is the different youth retreat. That is the wrong thing. There it is. But we have the different youth retreat. And Bruce from Harvest Point, that's up in Madison, Brother Marshall's church, he will be preaching. And again, that is the different youth retreat on March 27th, and it'll starts about 9 o'clock, and it ends at about 4 in the evening. It's a day-long event, full of fun. We play games, hear preaching. It's just a good time to bond, get closer to Jesus, get closer to one another, and just have a good time. Next thing I want to talk about is the Overcome Conference. This is the first week of May. It's a little down the line. But again, guys, mark it on your calendars. Come hear, the youth preach. I've preached at these before. It's an awesome time. We always get packed out places. Even, we were able to have one last year with COVID. It was a great time. I definitely recommend coming and hearing the youth preach. And the next thing I really want to drive home is youth camp. We get to have one this year. We didn't get to have one last year. And youth camp's awesome. I've been 2 times in the past couple of years. A lot of fun. It's a week-long thing. Grow closer to people you don't know. Grow closer to people you do know. That's actually where we're closer to Eli. Great time. Really invest in one another. Invest in Jesus. That's actually where I found my calling, and I've loved it. I've loved it ever since. So I really drive home y'all going to youth camp this year. Talk to Pastor Ethan about forms and money. You can actually start paying that now if you want to go. But yeah. To Eli, even though I've been preaching a little longer than him, I've been able to watch him preach and watch him grow in class, and it's made me so proud to watch him grow, and I'm so happy for him and the calling that's on his life. And so, guys, without further ado, let's welcome Eli.
Good evening, good evening. Will anyone start off named Michael please stand up? Okay, great. That is our mic check. Now we're ready to go. Okay. So, as Nick said, I've been preaching for about a year and a half now, and it's really been a blessing to be with them. And it all started with youth camp. So, sort of just to drive home what he was saying before, if you have the opportunity, youth camp really is the place to be. Both to have those relationships with people, but also just have a time where you can have a solid foundation with Christ. But today is Student Takeover, where specifically we're talking about the next step. And although it says student in the name, it's not all about teenagers, younger people. It drives to everyone. So students, obviously, the thought is student taking over, student next step. You have college, you have high school if you're that young. But it extends to 20-year-olds, whether they're in the workforce, maybe making a family, that type of thing. And it extends even further into adulthood as you're walking through those steps towards retirement, things like that. So, there's Michael. But again, talking about that next step, where today we're going to specifically talk about the next step in a relationship with Christ. But if you don't believe in Christ, if you're not a Christian, don't just tone me out immediately, because this is a promise. This is something that will come. It's a description of what can come if you decide to convert. But if you're a Christian here, it's the steps. It's the walking path. It's what comes next. So today we're going to be specifically in 2 Thessalonians. 2 Thessalonians, if you don't know, was written by someone named Paul. Paul was sort of the guy in the New Testament. Had the most books written by him, went everywhere in the country, and his sort of thing was that he had Greek citizenship while also being a Hebrew, which is interesting, because Hebrew, the religion, was very selective. It was very seclusive. They didn't really take in outsiders. So as someone who was born in Tarshish, from someone who was Hebrew, he was in that. And if you have Roman citizenship, you have the ability to travel, and you have a fair trial. So at a young age, he was pinned to be the guy for the Hebrew religion. And that sort of changed for him when a dude named Jesus Christ showed up. And you got to understand from his point of view, this was the least likable person possible. This was someone, in his point of view, who was coming in, taking away his people, and converting them to something that he would have assumed to be a cult. Something different. He didn't like it. And in fact, it drove him to such rage that he started imprisoning and murdering Christians to just limit it as much as possible. Scare factor. If he could stop it from happening, he'd be good. So, here we see Paul. We see this dude that is very, very passionate. And his next step, he's going to travel. He's going to go to one of those next cities that he's going to purge, find, because he heard rumors about Christians there. And as he arrives on his way, he sees a light. And this light, we come to find out, is Jesus. And it blinds him, and whenever it blinds him, he tells him, hey, you're still going to go there, but something's different this time. You're no longer there to purge. You're no longer there to take away. You're going to help it grow. And years go past. He becomes the guy. He preaches, he travels, he gets imprisoned, he gets stoned, whatever. He goes through it, and here we find 2 Thessalonians. This is years later. He's about 60, 55, 50, somewhere in that range. Elderly for his time. And he's in prison, and he's writing 2 Thessalonians. And it's a promise of the church of Thessalonica. And it's basically saying, hey, you did a great job, which is weird. Because most of the time in his letters, he's talking, hey, this is how you can do better. But what he provides as to them, encouragement, is to us, it's a path. So when we see what he's talking about, we can see how we can attain that. So we're going to go to 2 Thessalonians 1, 3 through 6. If you have a Bible, turn there. If you don't, it's going to be in big letters on the screen. But here we go. So, verse 3. Dear brothers and sisters, we can't help but thank God for you, because your faith is flourishing and your love for one another is growing. We proudly tell God's other churches about your endurance and faithfulness in all the persecutions and hardships you are suffering. And God will use this persecution to show his justice and to make you worthy of his kingdom for which you are suffering. We're going to stop there. Okay. So here we have it. Here we have their lives set out before them, and a promise of what our lives can be like. This is where we see that next step. So in verse 3, can you go back to it for a second? Thank you. We see that first thing he talks about, that first compliment, and it's the first thing we need to do. Because your faith is flourishing and your love for one another is growing. Point 1 on your outline is going to be growth. Growth. A lot of times, we as Christians seem to stick. We stay at one point. We see that other times in the Bible with a person named Saul, who became king and stuck. He was complacent. My soccer coaches are constantly on about, don't get complacent. Don't let yourself stop here. There's more to come. And here we see a promise of what happens when we don't get complacent in our faith. We have growth. Growth of love. So there's this thing in the Christian faith of a lack of empathy, a lack of love for others that walk through the door. Someone comes in, don't know them, don't know their name, and you immediately, why are they here? What are they wearing? What? This is church. What are you doing? We have Brian walk in, and I'm like, what is he wearing? What are you doing? And we see a difference in what it means to be a Christian and how we are acting. I'm going to tell you a story that I've been told since I was a kid that's always sort of stuck with me. All right. So my pastor, who is, I don't mean this insulting, old, when he was young, about 20-ish, at his home church, there was a dude that showed up one day, 12 years old. Him and his group of friends, never been there before. I have no clue if he's ever been to church before. No one knew him. This is some random kid. And he, like Matthew, apparently liked to wear hats. So he brings in with his hat on, thinking he's look fashionable, all cool. He sits down, the pastor goes to pray, and he keeps on his hat. Oh no. While it's not a sin to wear your hat during prayer, it's generally considered disrespectful or whatnot. And the man in front of him was having none of it. This old gentleman, 70, 60-ish, turned around, saw his hat, during the prayer, by the way, so kind of awkward that he's looking around. He noticed it, and he goes off. He's not okay with it. What is this kid doing? This is my church. He walks in here, and he's wearing a hat. Matthew, come on! And, thank you. And he absolutely destroys this poor 12-year-old kid in his first day in church. And all I can imagine is the thoughts going through that poor child's head, thinking, what is going on? I'm here, I was told this is supposed to be a place of love, and what's next? He's immediately bombarded. And I feel like that's a very clear representation of how we can be. And it's a failure, to be quite honest. And while the story has somewhat of a happy turn, as the pastor obviously notices because the man was yelling and everyone noticed, and he changes his message on the spot to preach about how it's not okay to judge by hats instead of by some random person you don't know. But it already happened, and that boy never came back. And that is, again, a failure of love. So, what is the first thing we need? Again, love. So, I say that to say that if we don't focus on love first, we're going to lose people all the time. And I want you to remember that. Have it in the back of your mind the rest of the time. Think, am I being loving? Am I failing people every day as I show them a message that is wrong about Christ? And I want you to remember, because eventually we're going to have an altar call, and I want you to have that in your mind. I want you to get down here and remember, am I failing? How can I fix it? But we also have B. We have a growth of faith. And funnily enough, we have the soccer team here because soccer is a weirdly great explanation for faith. I stopped that at a very awkward point. But my teammate right beside me is Dylan. And the thing about Dylan is that I know, sorry, I probably should ask you before talking about you, is that I know the runs that he's going to make most of the time before he makes them. I can play into the space in front of him and be sure that he's going to get there. And I'm going to tell you that's the same way with God. I don't know he's there. Maybe you're called to the mission field. You think you hear that calling to go to Haiti, and you go. But you don't know if God's really there waiting for you. And I'm telling you that if you have faith and you trust, and you know in the back of your mind, this is where I'm supposed to be, he's going to be there waiting for you. That faith is the second thing we need to be grown. Love and faith, they combine together to make people want to come. Because who wants to come to a church where their first thing is, what are you wearing? Why are you wearing a hat? And their second thing is some random message where they're just trying to dog you the entire time and not showing any evidence of faith. You see, Matthew 17, 20, 21, I don't think they have it on the board, says that if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. We don't really have mustard seeds around here. Just imagine a tiny bit of mustard, I guess. I don't know. A tiny mustard seed. It's about this big. It's the smallest seed that they had in Israel at the time. If you have faith as small as that, fragment, you can move a mountain. That's a promise. Because if I'm hurting, if I'm looking at my grandma who's sick and I think, I can have that faith, I have that, then I can trust and I can have faith that she will be healed. It's the same for you. Maybe you have a brother that's sick. Maybe you have a sister that's hurting. Whatever. That faith will grow if you trust. And that's the second thing. Maybe. That's what you need to be thinking about whenever you hit this altar. Do I actually have faith? But continuing on, we have point 2. We have endure. So back to the verses, I believe it's 4. Verse 4. Thank you. We proudly tell God's other churches about your endurance and faithfulness in all the persecutions and hardships you are suffering. Again, this is a testament of how they had been living and a promise of how we can live. We see that they had been showing endurance, and we can as well. But maybe you don't know about your endurance. Maybe you can think back upon your life and you're like, I believed in Christ at one point, but I mean, not really anymore. I sort of fell off, sort of backslid. And I'm going to ask you, what limited your endurance? Because most of the time it's going to be a couple of things. It could just be, laziness maybe, but some of the more often things are substance abuses, pride, abuse by others that turns you away. And I want you to remember that if you have those thoughts, those times where you're thinking, do I really have endurance? Do I really want to be here? That there are two things that can help you endure through it. A, through the past blessings. So my mom does this thing, and she's talked about it here before, but if you don't know, it's called receipts. It's called receipts of faith, is how I'm going to word it. But it's where I have a time where I had a blessing. Maybe God healed my mom. Maybe God healed my dad. And I'll write that down. And I'll stick it on my wall, and I'll remember, hey, the next time I'm struggling, I can look at that. Because if he did it once, he can do it again. But the thing about your past blessings is that they not only help you, they help others. Because I'm telling people about my blessings, the fact that my grandma got healed from cancer, you're out there, you're thinking, my grandma has cancer. It's happened to him, it's happened to me as well. And it's that faith to endure. And it's what comes after your growth of faith. It's what comes next. You start to have the ability to endure through it. So there's a song that, it's by Tribal Worship, that I really recommend. And it's a perfect picture of what it means to endure. And the lyrics go, if he can do it for me, he can do it for you. And if he can do it then, he can do it again. If I look back in my past life and I remember those times, those moments where I realized, okay, it's true. God is real. Then the next time I'm starting to doubt, I can remember, hey, he did it once. He can do it again. But B, you can also endure through others' blessings. And this is what's really connected to that A point. If I'm not telling you about the times where God healed my grandma, God healed my mom, God healed my stepbrother, whatever, then how are you going to be helped as you try and succeed through your own problems, your own troubles? Because whenever we're at that lowest, shortest point in life, I can look up and I can see, hey, Carly, she's up here, she's telling me, you can do it. He did it for me. He can do it again. And in a year where you can see right here it says Bridges, we're about testimony here. It's about talking about what God's done in your life. And this is why it's important. Because it helps others endure where they might have failed. So I think the best way to sort of explain it if you're still struggling with the thought, though, is that, so Matthew, as you saw worshiping, the other day, he played this song that was ridiculously high notes in it. Like, to the point where I couldn't even imagine getting close. And I was over there not singing because I had zero chance. And the excitement and pure just joy I felt seeing his success made me more excited to worship. Another example. So one of my, also named Matthew, one of my closest friends, Matthew, whenever he plays soccer and I see him go out and I see him do this slick move, whatever, I get excited and more apt to play. Because I'm saying, he just did it, I'm ready to go out there and do it again. And that's what this is all about. That moment where you can see others succeed and know that God can do it for you as well. But maybe you're thinking, what comes next? What's up next after this? And that's where that last point comes in, and it's rest. So we're going to go back to the verses, I believe it's 5. Thank you. It's 4 actually, I'm sorry, it's 4. I'm still wrong, okay. I'm going to pull it up myself. Just imagine I'm drinking water or something, and that's what's holding us up. Okay. And God will use this persecution to show his justice and to make you worthy of his kingdom for which you are suffering. After the suffering, after what you need to endure, is what comes next. And it's 3. It's rest. We have the society, I mean, it's built around capitalism. Capitalism isn't a bad thing, don't get me wrong. But the key part of capitalism is constantly working. Because if you lag behind, you're dead. If you stop working, you're done for. And that develops this thing where we always have a need to deny rest. I think the first time I realized this was a couple years ago, where I went to this Indian first-year birthday for this baby boy. And when I'm telling you, they told us to be there at 4:30. The other people weren't there till 6. I was waiting there for an hour and a half for a baby I didn't know's birthday. And the reasoning they had was that, well, if they hear that it's 4:30, then they're going to think, oh, I only really need to show up at 6. What? You couldn't have told me that? I was there waiting for an hour and a half. But they're in a state where they're okay with resting. They're okay with waiting. And as a society, we're oftentimes not. But we have a promise at the end of the story. Our time of rest. An end. So the important thing about rest is that it's multi-dimensional. That was a struggle to say. Where rest does not only come from myself. Where if I start to rest, it starts to extend. So A is rest for ourselves, though. Because that first step is having to realize that it's okay to rest and being prepared to rest. Because obviously we have this promise of heaven. We have this big, joyful promise where at the end we'll be fine, we'll be good. But it extends further than that, because it comes down to earth as well. We have this really sad thing called hospice in Earth. And I've had to see it up close relatively recently with my friend's grandpa and going to visit. And it's where, I'm sure most of y'all know, but it's where a person is going to die, so they let them go home and spend their last few days at home. And it's sad, and it hurts to go and see them in the state where they know that it's coming, but they don't know when. But luckily, we have something where we have a promise, some sort of difference, where in those moments of pain, we can have some sort of solace knowing that, hey, we made a positive difference. Because this is where the growth comes back in. If you have that growth of love, if you have that growth of faith, then at the end, whether you're lying on hospice, whatever, you have a promise that you made a positive impact. Because I want to challenge you with this. Jesse, if you died right now, you don't have to actually answer. Would you die knowing that you made a positive impact on people? Matthew, if you died right now, would you know? And I want everyone to think through that for a second. And if you need it at the end, come to the altar and pray. Try and figure out if you currently feel that you've made a positive impact on people's lives. And if you haven't, then you go straight back to point one, because you right now still have time. But sadly, we don't know how much. And that's where point B comes in. Rest for others. Because that's a very harsh thought to think through. It's a very challenging thought. Especially when it comes to thinking of others. Because if I think back in my life, maybe I don't think that I've been the kindest person, maybe I don't think I've been the nicest person, but there are people that I know, and I mean this in the kindest way possible to them, that I know if they looked back, they would have some regrets. Maybe it's one of my friends' abusive father. Maybe it's one of my friends' mom who deserted them. But you having the ability to realize that I need to grow, that I need to grow in my love and my faith, has an extension on others. We always say that others will see you and want what you have. They'll see that you have Christ in your life and they'll want Christ in theirs. This is where it's really important. Because it guarantees, point B, rest for others. Or maybe they really will get to go to heaven, and maybe they really will get to spend their last few moments knowing that, hey, I did something right. So I have one final story, and it involves some of my teammates. I probably should have asked them, Slate and Matthew, and one that isn't here, Alex. So we went to the soccer tournament, and Slate had a good idea, but we didn't execute it well. He thought we should do an ice bath. Great idea, cool. But the problem is we didn't bring ice. And the bigger problem was that our plan, became, hey, the hotel will have ice. That'll work out. It didn't work out. Because we didn't have ice. We went to a hotel without an ice machine, which meant we were out of luck. And instead of thinking, hey, Matthew's mom is here, I can text her and say, hey, can you go run and get us some ice, please? Our first thought was, hey, let's freeze some apple juice and use that for our ice cubes. Yeah, and I'm not to be Scooby-Doo, but it would have worked too, because we woke up in the morning, and guess what? They were frozen. But the problem with that was, we didn't have time to take an ice bath in the morning. The plan was for it that night. So again, we didn't think through the fact that, hey, why are we freezing them over the night if we were going to use them tonight? So there was a lot of late night forgetting obvious things going on. And I'm sorry to throw the other two under the bus, but we were quite dumb, I guess is the best way to put it. And but the thing about those apple juice bottles is that they became such a bigger problem because we then had to get rid of them. And for some reason, we decided that we couldn't just throw them away. We decided that we would have to get the ice out first. And this meant that we had to spend about an hour where we could have been resting, getting ready for the game, sitting around the sink, trying to get ice out of apple juice bottles. But ultimately, those apple juice bottles went unused. They were ready, we prepared them over the night, we had them ready to go, but they didn't get used. And I don't want that to be each and every one of you. I don't want you to grow, be ready to endure, be ready to go, but ultimately feel that you're not being used. So as we sort of merge into this time of altar call, time of prayer, I challenge you to start thinking, am I really letting God use me? Or am I just like those apple juice bottles and I'm just throwing myself away? So as Matthew brings us to a close, brings us to worship, if you feel the need, if you feel the call, the altars are open. You can pray your seat if you would prefer, but just have a time of prayer in these next few minutes.
I just want to tell Eli, you did such a good job. Let's all give a big round of applause to Eli. You know, because it is hard to get up here and preach to people. Because, especially when you got your whole soccer team there. I know that nervousness that Eli was feeling before, but he delivered a great message. And I just want to point out some of the stuff that he talked about. Growth. We have growth of love, growth of faith. And one thing is the questions that he gave, the stories that he gave were really good. Do you love? Do you have faith? That's something that, as Christians, we need to be constantly thinking about. How can I love people more? How can I have more faith in God? And I think he did a really good job of pointing that out. His second point, endure. Through the past blessings and through others' blessings. Something that hit me whenever he brought that up was your past blessings push you forward. Because our past blessings, we look back on that, like he said, and we think, man, God can do that again. God can help me through that. And that question that you asked, have you made a positive impact? Man, that hit deep. That's something that we should all be thinking about. How can I make a positive impact on somebody's life? And then the third point, rest. This is something that, even God did. God rested. And that's something that we need to do as well. We need to take that time and have some spiritual rest so we can continue to grow. And the last thing that he pointed out, don't let your growth go to waste. Let God use you. Make an impact. Don't let this night, don't let what Eli said go to waste. Internalize that and let God use that inside of you. And then the final question on here, what is your next step? And before we end, I just want to give you guys a few reminders. Camp. If you have any questions about camp, go to Pastor Ethan, talk to him, get the form, give him the money. Then we have our youth retreat, March 27th. Make sure to, if you guys like this, come to that because it's going to be pretty similar to what we did tonight. And I'm just going to pray for us, and then we'll be dismissed. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the message that was said to us. God, I pray that you can continue to let all of us grow and just reveal to us what our next step is. Don't let this night go to waste. I pray that we can have love and that we can have the faith to keep going and grow. I pray that you can guide us and just show us what we need to do. And do the same with Eli. Let him grow in his calling. Let him mature in his calling. I pray that you can give us a good and safe week. The rest of the week, I pray for